So we have come up with the following ways to sort out the problem. One, the community on plastic pollution so that they can understand the dangers and teach them on the 7 R's, that is refuse, reuse, reduce, recycle, and rethinking the use of plastics. Then two, we engage in community cleanup and mop up of plastics for proper disposal, because we realize the plastics pollute the environment because they are not properly disposed. Then three, have an income generation project where the plastics that shall have been mopped up from the environment are sold to the plastic manufacturing plants to help reduce the number of plastics in the environment, and also to make it sustainable so that they cannot be looking for chemicals to produce more plastics. And we came up with a small design. I've come up with a small design. Maybe I don't know how I can share. Maybe through the video, or I can take a photo and then share the small design on how to ensure there's no plastic pollution. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Charles and Group 1 for that. Yeah, you can take a photo and then attach as a chat on the group. Thanks, Charles, for presenting on behalf of Group 1. So now let's head to Group 2. The teenage pregnancy issue. For Group 2, we had Millicent.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Dan. So for us, as we were imagining about teenage pregnancy, at the end or in the middle of our discussion, we discovered, or we came to a conclusion, or let me say an assumption, that it's not that we have not had education or any awareness done for teenage pregnancy, or it's not like we have not had, sex education in schools. So our focus on the type of solutions were based on the fact that we have already had solutions. And so we wanted to try and see what has not been done yet. So then as we were thinking about what has not been done yet, we thought about what if we started creating material and modules and just programs that are titled teenage awareness of teenage pregnancies, but we target the boy child. We target the boy child while we are still around, but we also actively and very vigorously and radically also target the boy child. And so imagine a classroom full of boys, and we want to talk about sex education and teenage pregnancy, and then we were asking ourselves, so what would we tell these boys? What would we tell these boys? And I believe that we are not yet at a solution, because this is new to us. This is new to, and very new to us even personally. Like, what would we start telling boys about teenage pregnancy? Because all our material and efforts have always been for girls. Like the way femicide, and femicide was these femicide campaigns mostly targeting the men, which is different and which is new, and I think it's going to be effective, because we saw that many people were for stop telling girls to keep themselves safe, although that is important, and we cannot stop telling girls to keeping themselves safe, but we also wanted to target the men and the boys, and tell them that educate your boys. And so another example would be menstrual hygiene. One of our members talked about menstrual hygiene and said, if we just continue helping the girls discover menstrual hygiene, then we're not even helping, because these boys are with them in class, these boys are with them in the society, and if we're just taking care of the left side of the brain and we leave the other side of the brain, it's like there is no functioning. And where there is no functioning in society, these problems are bound to occur again. So we have not come up with a concrete solution. We're just bouncing our heads off of this new approach. And we talked about maybe could we talk to the boys about self-esteem? Could we talk about to the boys about how can they build relationships that are proactive and not reactive? And then we could also introduce activities that foster more of reinforcing than going to the boys and telling them don't. You see, like, these are young people and they are energy. What are you telling them? Why are we continuing to tell them don't? Because the energy must be channeled somewhere. All energy, all type of energy must be channeled somewhere. So why don't we give them activities for them to be proactive with these young girls? Because they are bound to attract, unlike pearls attract, opposite sex attract. So those are some of the ideas that we have. We are still bouncing them off each other's minds, and we are welcoming even the team to share with us whenever when we go on this further. But that's some of the imagining that we have done. Thank you.
That's great, Millicent, and that's great work for Group 2, and also for the new approach that you're thinking about. It's super. Continue thinking in that line. As we go to the next step, maybe you have some time now to narrow down to what exactly you do and even giving a topic to your project. So before we proceed to Group 3, I know, Charles, you're ready to share that structure. So let me just allow you to share. Just try to share your screen.
So files still restricted.
Just a minute, I give you that permission. Accept that, it's easier. Is it okay now?
Let me try. Still restricted by the account admin. Or I can show you
so that you can share from your side other than opening up for the sharing.
Can I send to your WhatsApp, then you can post?
Yeah, that's still okay.
Fine.
So as he does that now, maybe we can proceed to Group 3. Group 3 is security and environmental awareness.
Yes, our group on environmental awareness were the ideas that we looked at. The first one was create awareness among learners through interactive sessions from them. So we have them come up with the ways of managing waste and environmental consciousness. And then another idea, participate in creating dust using locally available materials. So these dustbins, they are going to use them in their classes to dispose the waste, which will enable them keeping their class and compound clean. Also, posters and stick them on the notice boards or on the walkways within the corridors to create awareness. And then we talked of detectors to switch on and off lights and ACs where the AC is on in cold, in hot places and fan, and also where heaters are applicable in cold areas. We have detectors that will automatically switch off these gadgets when they are not in use to conserve energy. And then schools. And then we also talked about teachers being role models, where in case we are talking about, we also talked about replace disposable items with reusable ones. So as we urge the learners to do this, we also talked about people or teachers being role models, where they will be on the front line to use the reusable containers. So these are some of the ideas that our group came up with on environmental awareness. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Congratulations. Thank you so much, Purity and the group, for those discussions. And before now we head to group. Good work. Before now we head to group 4. Let me just share the design that group 1 had done. So maybe Charles, you can just explain the design.
So under our solution, we were to look at how the plastic will not pollute the environment. So this design shows that the plastics will leave the factory and come to the users, and see how the users can still return the plastics to the factory so that they don't pollute the environment. So we can also have a collection where the plastics can be put so that they don't pollute the environment. Then from the collection point, they go back to the factory so that we avoid pollution.
Oh, that's great, Charles, and it's always good to visualize. It becomes easier for people also to understand and grasp the idea that you have. Wonderful, wonderful work for the group. And now to group 4. Group 4, you had the high rate of unemployment. Carol, you're presenting on behalf.
In group 4, we had the high rate of unemployment. We have come up with ways to solve the unemployment. The first one is to allocate for change in tertiary curriculum. On what students can do so that we have skills when we are out there. And the second one was to self-esteem and mentorship. You make them to start something and you counsel them when they are in schools. And the third one is decentralization of industrial activity. This reduces unemployment. If we have decentralized, we build jobs in different places and are developed areas. People are able to find jobs. And the fourth one was population control. When we use family planning, our population is controlled. And another one is to invest in infrastructure by building roads and other civic projects. And the last one was centralized community government. And on this one, it was the most one which ate the weight, and I will welcome Omar to explain on the point of centralized empowerment hubs.
Thank you, Carol. Yeah, so regarding the community empowerment, community empowerment hub, the four features we're supposed to actually judge these solutions. One, it was actually the boldness. It should actually be new. It should actually be easy to replicate. That is in terms of the finance. Then it should be long-lasting, and it should actually have an impact on a good number of people. So in community empowerment hub, so it was we actually create them at our school level now that we have CBC. So at our school level, even in the village level schools, we actually have what we call the community empowerment hubs. So they'll be actually addressing the unemployment by providing a comprehensive services together with opportunities. So it should actually have about 5 features. One of the features is actually the comprehensive services. It should actually offer vocational training, entrepreneurship workshops, job placement assistance, financial literacy programs, and counseling services, of which we don't have centralized place, which we can actually have youths who are about to join maybe campus or who are in high school, or the ones who have not actually been privileged to join school get such services. The second feature is actually we have the innovative and collaboration. That is, we engage the local businesses, the educational institution and NGOs, and some government agencies to provide resources and support. Then the three feature of that hub is it be interactive. It be an interactive workshop. That is, we have the hosting of sessions whereby guys brainstorm, and they are actually have people who are skilled. They actually share those skills for them to actually have the skill sharing, the skills transfer. And also we'll be having the networking events, which can actually encourage creativity and collaboration among our youth who are unemployed. Then the fourth feature, we actually have digital resources in that hub. The digital resources will provide access to the online courses, job portals, the virtual mentorship programs, which can actually reach out to wider audience. And we shall actually be having the adaptability of the communities as far as technology is concerned. We are in the 21st century, Lana. We are in the 21st century, and I think the president himself is after this, but some of people are demeaning him, but he's actually after the interest of that person who is even in the village to actually grasp the opportunities. So we don't only focus with the innovative hub, which was actually created in Kitui, not Kitui, Machakos. They be centralized to even the schools which are in the village. Then finally, we have community engagement. So we have foster active participation from the community members in the programs that the community hosts, the community hub hosts will be designing. Then they also have sessions whereby there is display of what they've actually been achieving in terms of exhibitions. I think this one will actually be motivating the community. Then in terms of the impact, the boldness is that let's look at the challenge of the traditional approaches. But the traditional approaches, everybody is phobic of technology. We have youths who are actually produced, who are not collaborative, they're just competing. But with this, we'll actually have the competency of collaboration and innovativeness being created within the members of the community. In terms of the replication, the cost effectiveness, it will be easy. It will not be difficult to actually have that, because already the structures are there and we are going CBC way. So I think by that we'll actually be addressing the problem of unemployment amongst the communities, because they'll be getting the skills, and that is what is missing with our Form 4 leavers and the university leavers. They're living with just the content, but they don't have the skills. But through the workshops, they'll be actually having those skills. Then long-lastingness empowers individuals with skills and resources for sustainable employment and entrepreneurship. So if they get those skills, they can employ themselves. And if they employ themselves, it will actually be long-lasting, because those are the ones which will actually come and empower others. They'll be the resource people who will come and nurture the others who will be joining those hubs. So the hubs can actually be self-sustaining, because the resource people will be there to come and share their skills. Then in terms of the impact, I think it is addressing the unemployment comprehensively, and it is empowering a good number, because you're talking of going to almost each and every school, because all the government schools are CBC compliant. So by implementing this community empowerment hub, communities can actually create a sustainable solution to unemployment, fostering economic growth and prosperity for all the youths. I think that's what I'm having. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Omar, and for the wonderful work you did in your groups. And I loved one of the solutions that was suggested, that is population control. Maybe we can review that after we finish on group 5. Asante sana for that. So group 5, Mark, just present low literacy skills.
Yes, on group 5, we had settled on low literacy skills. So we had the following solutions. The first solution was coming up with a book club. And in this book club, we'll have to do a book drive so that you can have enough books to be used in the book club. Number 2, we had debating, maybe coming up with the debating sessions in schools where learners can participate. And then we also had coming up with letter cards, improvised charts, and then someone suggested on curiosity charts. So curiosity charts will involve maybe after reading, they can have pictures and learners can talk about what is happening in the pictures, maybe as in relation to the stories they have read. So by doing so, it will be enhancing their vocabulary, that is their literacy skills. And then we also had having puzzles where learners can feel that is after reading, and this will help in memory, enhancing their memory and retention of content that they have read. And then we also have class library, where learners can exchange books and do presentations thereafter. So we came up with, after all these solutions, we brainstormed and got to realize that all these solutions can actually be put on one umbrella, and we'll call it a literacy club. So in this literacy club, the activities that will be involved in these literacy clubs, because literacy is more of reading and writing. So we say we can have composition writing sessions where the learners can take part in writing compositions, maybe give a topic or a beginning or an ending, and then they can express themselves in writing. That is the compositions, and thereof they'll be enhancing their writing skills. And then he also talked about storytelling. Now, the class library sessions, learners may have different books. Maybe in a class of 40 or 50, you may have around 30 different books, that is story books. And if they do exchange the books after every reading sessions, then at the end of maybe a number of sessions, we'll have a learner maybe having read about 20 books, and this will enhance their vocabulary, and they can be able to tell more stories from the books which they have read. And after storytelling, we talked about creating a vocabulary tree. So this vocabulary tree, a learner will have to, that is from the stories they have read, they write the new words, the keywords, and then we develop a vocabulary tree where we can have the letter cards or the flashcards where they write the words and stick on that vocabulary tree. So at the end of the day, we'll have so many words in that vocabulary tree that when you involve the learners in finding out the meanings and helping them maybe develop sentences using the words, then at the end of the day, they will have gotten a number of words in their vocabulary, and therefore enhancing, that is, their vocabulary. And then we had talked about debating. So debating shall also come in the literacy club, where we'll have sessions of debating. You give learners a topic where they go and do a research, and then they come back, pick sides, that is maybe opposing or proposing, and then they debate amongst themselves. And by doing so, it will be enhancing, that is, their confidence in terms of speaking in front of people. And also they will, when they do research, they come across so many words, they come across so many vocabularies, which will also help in improving their literacy skills. So that is what we had in Group 5.
Thank you so much, Mark, and the group, and all the ideas that you put in together to try and solve the question of literacy, especially addressing how we can improve literacy levels in our schools. Wonderful work for Group 5. And before now you step into the next step, where now you look at, you've identified a problem, you've dug deeper to understand the root cause, and after that you've come up with solutions that you can implement to be able to address that problem. The other thing is that you'll be able to do before now you go into the two step is you have to engage now the audience that you're trying to solve the problem for. Remember, these are ideas that you've discussed within your group, but how sure are we that exactly the solution that you're proposing is what is needed in the crowd. So this way now we're going to engaging the audience that you're trying to solve the problem for. Assuming now we are talking, let's say, for group one, plastic pollution. How can you engage the community to understand what exactly causes the plastic pollution? Is it that we don't have enough places to dump in? Is it because they don't have enough information on how to recycle? Is it to try to understand exactly why? And then whatever solutions that you propose to implement, you share also with them to see if you had to do this, is it something that they believe they can be able to achieve and make it long lasting? Remember, you're looking at a bold, quick, and long lasting. Long lasting is very key because we're also looking at sustainability of that. And sustainability now involves how can we all work together to be able to create a better environment. And maybe also to mention something that was a bit group 4, you mentioned about population control, and this one also touches into maybe whatever group 2 had when you're talking about teenage pregnancy and all that. Is it because population when you talk about population control, if you look at some of the places that are where overpopulated are those places that poverty level is a bit down. So then the question is, why is it that those places have people are beyond like what we can be able to manage? Is it because maybe some of them are just free? So in the evening, people are back home very early. Is it because we don't have enough rating, or you just try to look into how can we be able to do this, but in an ethical way? If you're talking about population control, how can we be able to do this in an ethical way? Maybe create awareness and such. And somebody also brought that there was a time we were having another workshop and somebody brought that aspect of, is it how can we have population control as one of the mitigation towards climate change? Maybe you can think about that and see whether it does affect. Now, let me just share my screen. We've managed to come from the first step and now we are all the way to the third step. So before we plunge into the third step, something else that is very key, if you can be able to see my screen, is this step of where you note down mostly the idea that you want to start on. You see, you've given maybe 3 or 4 suggestions on what you can do and how you're going to do it. But now for you to be able to identify the most immediate solution that you can implement, this is after now you engage those you are trying to solve the problem for. And then that's where you come here and now you note down what are you going exactly to implement, and then give a title to the chosen problem. A very catchy one that the moment you put it there, because also you're looking at the documentation and media publicity and all that, you're looking at what is this that title that I can use, that if I put it there, it will attract partners and such. So now as we break back to our breakout rooms, what I want you to do is think about a title that you can give the solutions that one solution that you're going to address, and then develop a title for that. And once you have done that, now you come into the fourth step, which is the third step, which is the do part. The do part has 2 parts, where the first one is
recording stopped.
People required. We have 5 teachers, 2 counselors, 3 trainers. Am I too fast?
No, you are okay.
And then 2 administrative staff. And then we need 5 community volunteers. So the total people required, the personnel, 17.
Yes.
So time, the pilot phase is actually 3 months. So in the pilot phase, we'll have the school selection, the stakeholder engagement, and the resource mobilization. Then we have the setup phase, which is 3 months. We'll have the facility setup, equipment procurement, personnel recruitment and training. And then we have the implementation phase, which is 6 months. Program development, so it will entail program development, hub operations launch, and community engagement. Then after that, we shall be having the ongoing of the project, whereby we'll have monitoring, evaluation, and adjustments as needed. Monitoring, evaluation, and adjustment as needed. Can I go to documenting, number 5? Caro?
Yes, you are the one to present, so
Caro,
I've not written it.
You have not written anything?
No.
Okay, in the documenting, we have establishment of a system for documenting all aspects of the project, which include we have the budget tracking, whereby there is the maintenance of detailed records of the expenses and the funding sources. Then we have the personal records, whereby there is the keeping track of the staff qualification, the roles and the responsibilities. We need to have documentation of that. Then the program development, we need documentation of the document curriculum, then the workshop materials and the training resources. Then we have the attendance and participation records. So here we need to record the attendance at the workshops, the training sessions, and the community events. And then in the progress reports, we need to have regular updates, update to the stakeholders on how the project is actually going on, the milestone of the project, the challenges and the successes of that project. And then we also need to have records on the evaluation data. So here we shall be collecting the feedback from the participants, the stakeholders, and the community members on the impact of the project, and we also identify the areas of improvement. I think that's all. How is that? Input. We are actually 5 participants, for moja amekula missing. Shambat Simiyu, Alan Anyango, Karo. Inakaje hiyo?
Hiyo sio mbaya, iko sawa.
Iko sawa. Iko sawa.
Yeye wasema iko sawa tu.
Iko sawa.
Iko sawa.
Iko sawa? the what are we supposed to have? 3 things learned about the situation, 2 things learned about the teammates, 1 thing learned about yourself. Okay. Required resources, impact on the people affected. We are about to leave the breakout room.
Welcome back, everyone, and glad to have you back. Yeah, we are eager to hear about your discussions. So I'll just head to the group. So we're going to give you 2 minutes each to present, and we are going to start with group one. Group one, we we have Hadija representing on behalf of Group 1.
Okay, thank you so much, Dan. So for our group, which is Group 1, we came up with a title. We came up with 4 titles and we voted for one, which is Plastics of Our Environment. We looked at the planning, and for planning, we had some issues to consider. One was required resources. Remember, our project is about the plastic pollution. So the resources that we are going to need for us to implement this project include gloves, sacks, transportation, refreshments, resource person, and probably from the recycling industry, posters, t-shirts, and songs. These songs will be created by the people involved. And then for these resources, most of them are going to be used severally, so it will cut down on the cost. For the budget, we approximated 200,000 because we thought it wise to have this, to have it 6 times during the entire period of 3 months. The people required, we have the learners from schools, the community, and the local leaders. We brought in the local leaders because they will help us to raise that amount of money which we need, and also organize for so many things. Time, as I have stated earlier, it is 3 months. And documenting our work, we are going to have a report. We will write a report. We are living in a digital world, so we cannot escape having photos and videos. We can also have a pre-survey and post-survey. Before we start our project, we can have a survey to get to know, what people feel, what people think about the entire thing. And also after the project, we can have another survey to get to know the attitude, if there's any attitude change. And then we can also document using songs. Yeah, that's what we look at. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Hadija, for that and for the great discussions that you had in Group 1. So now we're going to head into Group 2. Gideon, you can, if Millicent is not there, Gideon, you might present on behalf of the group.
All right, thank you. Madam, I'm standing in for Madam Millicent. She's trying to log in. Possibly she will get us along as we move on. Therefore, Group 2. Yeah, we are still on the issue of a boy child. We realized that boy child has really been neglected. We've not been having people who are there to empower the boy child as much as it's supposed to be done. So that's why we really say twice to get into that. So based on the areas that we were talking on about the title, we wanted to have a title that such that whenever a person sees that title, they are able to understand everything about it without having a person to explain to them. Yeah, just a simple title that is straightforward, that is precise and direct. And based from our discussion, we came up with the title Boy Child Reconnaissance.
So, Amara, what's your name?
We were looking on how we can be able to involve people, making sure that the community is involved, the school is involved, the parents, the students, and everyone else is involved. And also at the same time, we get to educate, and also we make sure that the boy child gets to love themselves.
Yes.
That is on the issues of self-esteem. And based on all that, one of us came up with a very powerful slogan, that is Jihusisha, Jielimisha, Jipenda. Therefore, our title goes by Boy Child Reconnaissance, and now we have the tagline as Jihusisha, Jielimisha, Jipenda. And we discussed a number of things on the aspect of resources. We saw it that we will need to have experts who will be addressing that area. Therefore, we'll need resources in terms of human personnel, that is a sex education expert. We'll need some materials because now the sex education experts will not be there all along. And we want this thing to be impactful as much as possible. Therefore, we need to have something like a guide, something that is able to stand in for the human personnel. And so we need resources, that is the booklets and pamphlets. And also we need to empower the guidance and counseling team, that is in the schools with training, with webinars, and that comes along with incurring some costs. And also we need to have some facilitators. Facilitators, they will incur things like transport, they will incur charges to do with lunch, yeah, and so on. And also we need some things like the projector, laptop, PA system, yeah, but we had not reached to the point of approximating how much we are going to give into that. However, we had listed that those are the resources that we need. About the time to start and finish, we want this thing to be long-lasting, to go on and on. Therefore, we saw it wise to have it annually, to have like a mega event annually that is able to attract the attention of the government, that is able to attract the attention of our collaborators, the attention of partners, yeah, and people of well-being. And so that we are able to do that, we'll have a mega event that was suggested to be done on 16th of May, where we have the National Boys Day.
Recording in progress.
Yeah, that many people don't know about it. Therefore, we will be creating awareness, and also we'll also have some entities that is being administered at the county level, at the sub-county level, and also at the school level, such that we have an event in each and every school tri-annually. That is term 1, term 2, term 3. We have a particular date per school so that we are able to make it as effective as possible. Yeah, so that is it for our team. And also about documenting, we'll be taking advantage of our current times. We are in the technology era, therefore we'll be having videos, we'll be having photos, I will be making use of the social media, we'll be using storytelling, and also we will have reports. I will be surveying the environment. We come up with actually more mechanisms that can be used by other groups and so on. And by doing all this, I believe that the boy child will be empowered, and we'll solve the issues that are there with the boy child. Yeah, let me stop at that for now. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gideon, for representing on behalf of the Group 2, and I love the slogan, Jielimishe, Jihusishe, Jielimishe, Jipenda. It's a good one, very creative. So now we can proceed to Group 3, environmental awareness. We have Purity.
Okay, thank you. Under environmental awareness, the title that we gave our project is Planet Protectors, where we have the resources needed. We will need plastic containers. Also, we will have for dustbins, manila papers, felt pens. Also, we will have containers, and also we have detectors for detecting when the fans should go on and off. And we thought and also we will have visiting recycling plants, where we have our budget standing at around 50,000 shillings, which we approximated for the detectors and also visiting the place. The people required, we have learners, teachers, parents will also be involved. The time, we thought it being done within 3 months, that's a term. Once it happens, it will be possible to become a part and parcel of the school culture. And then documenting, we discussed, and so that it will be good documenting using photos and videos, and we can also capture the information in the school magazine. I believe that is what we discussed as a group. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Purity, on behalf of Group 3 for that presentation. And now we proceed to Group 4. Yeah, Carol was bringing Group 4.
So I'll be presenting on behalf of Group 4. So we had two names, two titles for the problem, which was community empowerment hubs and youth empowerment hubs. We settled to youth empowerment hubs because we saw that in our community that's the highest population, and that is actually the target group for that problem because it's facing most of the youths. Then in terms of the plan of action, so the required resources, we had categorized them into 6. We had the facilities, of which we needed the classroom space, computer labs, vocational training equipments. Then we had the materials, so we will need the teaching materials, the tools, the supply for workshops. Then the personnel, we thought of working with teachers, counselors, trainers, and administrative staff. Then we, in terms of partnership, we needed to collaborate with the government agencies, some NGOs and businesses. And then the 6th one, which is technology. We needed computers, internet access, software for training the programs. Then in terms of the budget, our budget estimates was 1.95 million. We broke it down to facilities facilities, which was to take 500,000, materials and equipment, which was to take 300,000. The personnel costs that include the salaries and training, which was 700,000. The program development, which was 200,000. The technology and internet, which was 150,000. Miscellaneous expenses, 100,000. It was totaling to 1.95 million. Then the resource, the human resource, the people required. We needed 17 people, of which we identified 5 of them to be teachers, 2 to be counselors, 3 to be trainers, 2 to be administrative staff, and then 5 community volunteers. So it was coming to a human resource of 17. So in terms of the time, we had actually broken down it into the program is supposed to, the project is supposed to take a year. So we broke it down to 3 months for the pilot phase, 3 months, another 3 months for the setup phase, and 6 months for the implementation phase. So in the pilot phase, which is 3 months, we shall be having the school selection, the stakeholders engagement, and the resource mobilization. It will take us about 3 months. Then the second 3 months, which is actually the setup phase, we shall actually have the facility setup, equipment procurement, the personal recruitment, and the training. And then in the implementation phase, which is supposed to take us 6 months, we shall have the program development, the hub operations launch, the community engagement. And then after that 1 year, we believe that we shall have the project ongoing. It will be a continuous thing of which we shall be having the monitoring, evaluation, adjustments as needed. Then in terms of the documenting, we saw that there are some aspects of the project that they actually have to be documented, one of them being the budget tracking, whereby we shall be maintaining the detailed records of the expenses and funding sources. And then we have the personal records, whereby we shall be keeping track of the staff qualification, the roles and the responsibilities. Then we have the program development, whereby we shall have the document curriculum, the workshop materials, and the training resources. Then we also keep the records of the attendance and the participation. So in that category, we shall have the record of attendance at the workshop, during the training sessions, and even the community events. And then we have the progress records of the progress reports, whereby we shall have regular updates. We shall be using them to regularly update the stakeholders, because we have we have engaged them, then they need to get the feedback. So we shall have the update of the stakeholders on the projects, how we have actually gone, the challenges and the successes of that. So we shall have that one as a progress report. It will be used by anyone that will wish to actually be a volunteer or giving feedback. And then finally, we shall be having the records of the evaluation data, whereby we shall collect the feedback from the participants, stakeholders, and the community members to assess the impact of the project and identify the areas of improvement. I think that is what we have in Youth Empowerment Hub. Thank you. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Omar, for that and for the good work that you've done for Group 4. And maybe just also to point out, it's very key to, in the process of doing the planning, to also think about how, like they've mentioned, how you're going to engage your stakeholders at the end of the project, and also how you're going to make sure you are taking a record of every either document or such, any data that you're going to use. How are you going to keep record of that? And the other thing is on budgeting. It's always very good to make sure you have a miscellaneous costs. Sometimes things go and you find that they're more expensive than you thought of and such. So miscellaneous costs is key. So good work for Group 4. Now we head to Group 5. Mark.
In Group 5, so we came up with the name of our project. We decided to use Literacy and Enhancement Club because our work will be more of literacy. So I will call our project Literacy Enhancement Club. So the plan of action, first of all, is sensitization of teachers. We felt that by sensitizing teachers, that is in various schools, we'll be able to now get those teachers who want to champion for literacy, to champion for increased literacy levels in their schools. And therefore, once we get these teachers, we can be able to now narrow down the people whom we are going to be working with. And then another plan of action is setting up of book corners in our classrooms, so that we can have specific places whereby we can have books, that is books, storybooks, the best sectors that learners can access anytime. And then we talked about allocation of duties and responsibilities. Now, those teachers whom we will have got that want to champion for increased literacy levels, now we can allocate them duties and responsibilities, because in this club we said we shall have a number of activities, that is composition writing, storytelling sessions, debate sessions, coming up with vocabulary trees. So we can allocate teachers some of responsibilities where they can help. That is when we have our debating, we know these are the teachers whom are going to assist us in mobilizing learners or in doing the what do we call it, moderation. So that's all about allocation of duties and responsibilities. The impact we felt this club will have on the affected people are the learners. So what impact will it have on the learners? Increased confidence levels. When learners take part in storytelling sessions, when they take part in debating sessions, their confidence levels increase. They're able to stand in front of people and express themselves and speak out their minds. And another impact we discussed was the curiosity levels of the learners will increase as they interact with more books. When we talk about having a rotation of books in classes, as they interact with more books, their curiosity levels increase. They want to read more and more. They want to come up with more vocabulary. They want to interact with more words so that they can increase their vocabulary, so they can make more sentences using these new words that they have come up. They have learned from the various books they have read. And now the required resources will need books, and therefore we'll need to do a book drive. And by doing a book drive, maybe that we'll have to reach out to We have to reach out to organizations which are championing for literacy, increasing literacy skills. So we have to do a book drive so that we can have enough books in our classes. We'll need teachers who will be the facilitators of these activities. We'll need manila papers where we can now cut out the letter cards, flashcards, so that learners can write on them. And then marker pens also will be needed. And then one thing also which will be needed, Bluetooth speakers. Maybe sometimes we can have audio books. Right now we are in a digital era, and audio books, there are some books which have been translated into audio, so we can have sessions whereby maybe some books are scarce, so why should we not use the audio part of the books, whereby we only need a Bluetooth speaker and learners sit down and we put on the book, that is the play, and they can be able to listen to it. Time and guidelines, we felt we can be doing it termly, that is we do it 3 months, that is. So after 3 months, we do an assessment. That is before we start the project, we shall do like a pre-assessment, something like that, and then pre-assessment survey, whereby we can be able to know like what level are these learners on, and then at the end of the 3 months, then we can also do a post-assessment, whereby now we can be able to see what impact has it had on our learners, where are we at, so that when we go to the next term, we know now maybe the kind of level, like the test setter books, they are usually of different levels. Now we know, right now, last time we did this level. Now this term, majority of our learners, we can see the level they are at. Now we have to increase a little bit the difficulty of the vocabulary, or the complexity of the stories, so that we make sure that we are progressing, we are not stagnating. So the same book that they will read in January should not be the same book they'll be reading in November. We need to be increasing the complexity levels of the books as time goes by. About the documentation, yes, we do it in videos, the photos, as we do the debating sessions, storytelling sessions, we have to do photos, that is to share in social media, so that we can share our work and also attract more partners. And then, as I said, the surveys, that is the assessment, we'll have to be doing learner progress. We have to be keeping the learner progress records, so that we can be able to know what level are we at, and what is the next plan of action, so that to be able to make this learner maybe move to the next level. So that's what we discussed in group 5.
Thanks so much, Mark, for that, and the group. Wonderful work, and to all of you for the great works that you've done. It's very, if you look at the time that we've used, within a short time, and we've managed to come up with all the 6 projects. So if that's done in a class setup, you can imagine how many projects we'll be able to come up with, and especially projects that address needs of projects that address needs of problems that already exist in a sustainable way. So it was quite. So let me just take you to the next. Just quickly, what happens next? So I'm sharing my screen. Hope it's visible. So now we've managed to finish the third step. That is the plan of action. What exactly do you need and all that? How to implement it? And after this, what happens next is that now you take your plan of action and now you implement it. After the implementation, the next step that comes is the reflect, where you have to go back into asking yourself, was it what did you learn out of it? Engage with your team, and also look at whatever you planned to implement. Did it really solve the problem that was existing? Maybe even if it's 50% or whatever percentage, did it really address that specific problem that was there? If not, then how can you redo the same, but now with a different approach? The reflection bit is very key. So after you are done with that, that's when we come to the last step. The last step is usually the share part, and the share part will come after doing the project. You've reflected, you've seen that it's something that is doable, and now you want to share it out. You want to encourage others now to be superheroes and unleash their can. This is where now in school what we do is that we usually have this platform where now you as a school you can upload those projects that you've developed. We'll have I'll just after this I'll share with you the timelines. So in the share you're going to upload either in form of a video, in form of a photo, and then document it nicely. And the purpose of sharing basically is to be able to inspire others to be able to be change makers also. And let me just share that. Which is very key. Yeah, this bit. So I hope you can be able to see this. So we've been able to do the workshop. So this is where now from here, we'll send you videos and all the necessary things that are needed. Where now you engage your learners in the FEEDS process. That is the whole FEEDS toolkit. Feel, imagine, do, share the steps. And we have until, so we've just started March. So we have March, April, May, June, July. That's around 5 months. So whatever we've done within the short 3 hours, we'll now be able to do it within you have 5 months. You have enough time to engage with your learners, you have enough time to collect the materials, you have enough time to contact whoever you're going to work with, if it's the municipality and such. And then at the end of it, we'll have, after July, that's when it goes, you'll have a jury during August to go through that you've submitted and review. And then after that, we are going to announce the top projects. Remember, as you do this, everyone is a superhero. Every project is it's great. But the purpose of us doing this is that we want to also give these learners a platform where they can be able to present these projects beyond Kenya. So that's why we have to go into the last bit, where in the so in the part where we're going to present the Kenya Mini Be the Change Conference, this is all learners who participated, but now in the international council relations, this is where now we select at least 3 top schools. They get a chance to go and present this now in a global aspect. And this year it's in Dubai, so we hope we'll be able to have done your projects on time. We'll have several subsequent meetings, so in case there is any question, you can also follow up with us. And then at the end of the year, we see how we can be able to pitch these projects in a global aspect. Remember, some of these projects might turn up to become a product. It's an opportunity for change. So you never know where it takes. So that's why we have to create these platforms where now the learners are able to share out in a global aspect. So from here, we're going to open the floor to first want to get your feedback about how the whole process is. Do you think it's doable in a class setup? Do you think it's different from the normal way that you do things and such? And then after that, after you get your feedback, we are going again to tell you the next step, what exactly is needed immediately after here. From there, we can call the day end. So the floor is open. Okay. Omar, you have your hand up.
Yes. Our project, as you can see, it is not only touching on the students within the school. It's actually, when you're talking of unemployment, you're talking of students who have already completed high school. So, as in, can they, the ones who are actually concerned, can they actually also see the students who are maybe from that school and the ones who have actually completed? That's my question.
If I may, maybe if I may mention that before I also give Ken a chance to. The projects that we've right now, those ones were to give you as to how you should be able to do the process. You see, from the field part, what's affecting you and all that. You got into groups, you discuss these factors, you are able to vote out that is common and all that. From that step all the way to the do. This is, let's say, like a prototype kind of. Now, those projects, you can decide in your own groups, maybe to come up together and still work it out. But when you get back to schools, we want students now to use the same model to come up with projects, if that is clear enough. So use the same model, put them in groups, let them discuss, let them share out, and then let them come up with their own projects that they. But the ones that we've done here, remember there are still challenges that face us. So in one way, you can decide as a group to come up together and take it to the next step of doing it. And yeah, but when you're doing it in schools, remember you have to give the children or the learners a chance for them to develop their own using now the same toolkit. That's clear enough for everyone.
For the prototype, we've actually got the process, everything, yeah? And that's we have got process. But now, in terms of the competition, will it be the competition for this, or will also be teachers? Or will the teachers also be part of? Can teachers come up with their own? Because I think from this, I don't think it's only the students who can actually. Even us as teachers still can also implement that. So I think for the students, I think I'm going maybe on board by asking you, can in that competition, does it only involve students alone, or it is the teachers too? I think the question, let me be more specific.
So now I get you, but question would be, will that be fair enough? The teachers have to compete with the learners. But it's open. You can still use it, the toolkit. You can still use the toolkit in your own schools. Teachers, you can use that to come up with projects. And what we can do is that we can always find platforms where now teachers can present those projects. We have global competitions for teachers and such. So you can still use the same toolkit, come up with a project, implement it, and now when it comes to the share bit, instead of now sharing it on the FC platform, we can show you some of the sites where you can be able to present the same. So it's an open toolkit for you to use as well. So, but now when it comes to the competition for the schools, we want it to be in a fair kind of setup. But maybe I can give Ken to give a comment.
Yeah, okay, thank you. I love the discussion so much. This is a toolkit, as I said, can apply in any aspect of life. It's only that now, especially with the Design for Change, we are looking at how can we nurture and shape our learners into critical thinking, into innovations. And I know the way I said, most of you develop projects that you need to plunge into science fair, science festivals. There's so many things that are flying around where you can put your projects. So we are not only saying now that you have done your projects and we're measuring on learners in terms of primary and high school, it doesn't mean that teachers cannot deploy the same toolkit. So, but it also opens up my mind on how can we engage teachers so that they can also make their learning environment very conducive. So I'm just looking at how can we develop a group of teachers in a school, and they can think together through design thinking approach, and they can actually develop their own platform, kind of, or projects. But for this, we won't have that option of teachers uploading their project and then teachers coming to present. But it is something that we can look into and see how can we also develop a design thinking approach for teachers, especially in our country, and then teachers can come and present. And that is a good idea that we can also plunge in during the various teachers forums, and this can also come on board when we can bring on board various players, the TSC and all that. So I think it's a good opportunity, but for now it's really on learners. So what you have done here, the way I said, it's just a prototype. It's a training kind of for us. And then now when we go engaging learners, we're not going to give them projects. They have also come up with their own projects and all that. So, but it's very good. I really appreciate it. And I just wanted also to say that when learners travel, they travel with their teachers. Because we can't travel with learners without the teachers. So, and we always appreciate a school having two teachers, a male teacher and a female teacher, just in for the clearance purpose of travel, child welfare and all that, and even ministry for traveling, girls have to travel with the female teachers as well. And we don't want any other teacher to come in just because of travel, other than the teacher who has walked the pathway, the design thinking pathway. So that is very clear. Regardless, even sometimes head teachers want to travel with the learners and such, but it has to be general. So I think I hope I shed some light on that. Okay, I can see this hand up, teachers hand up. Any of you can go ahead.
Okay, my concern was about, do we have a specific age limit for these kids, or we have to start from even lower grades? Because where I am, basically I teach grade 2 learners. So is there a specific age limit for these learners to engage in this design and change plan? And also, another thing, for the traveling, will the school be facilitating these learners to travel, or it will be you facilitating them?
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for that question. Actually, every learner